The homeowners attempt to save money by enlisting a friend for a window installation and other repairs proved to be a costly mistake. Instead of engaging qualified professionals, the homeowner opted for a less expensive solution, leading to a series of problems that ultimately increased overall expenses and compromised safety. The initial issue discovered was a nail puncturing a heating pipe. This occurred because during the window installation, or perhaps in related work, a nail was driven into the wall and inadvertently struck the heating pipe, causing a leak. This necessitated the immediate involvement of a licensed plumber to repair the damage. The plumber's work involved locating the leak, cutting into the wall to access the damaged pipe section, and then repairing or replacing the affected portion of the pipe. This is a standard plumbing repair, but the need for it arose directly from the non-professional work undertaken during the window installation. Most significantly, the plumber discovered an improperly spliced electrical wire concealed within the wall. This splice was made using Romex wire, a type of electrical cable commonly used in residential wiring. However, the splice was executed without the use of a proper junction box or wire connectors such as wire nuts. Instead, the wires were simply twisted together and covered with electrical tape. This represents a significant safety hazard and a violation of electrical codes. Firstly, junction boxes are designed to enclose and protect electrical connections, preventing accidental contact with the wires and containing any potential sparks or arcing that may occur. They are typically made of metal or plastic and provide a secure, fire-resistant enclosure for the electrical connections. Secondly, wire nuts are specifically designed to create secure and insulated connections between wires. They work by twisting onto the exposed ends of the wires, creating a tight mechanical bond and an insulated covering that prevents short circuits and electrical shocks. The absence of both the junction box and wire nuts in the splice found by the plumber is a serious issue. Electrical tape, while useful for insulating individual wires, is not a substitute for proper connectors and enclosures. Over time, the tape can degrade, dry out, or become loose, exposing the bare wires and increasing the risk of electrical shock or fire. The improperly spliced wire posed several risks. 1. The exposed wires could come into contact with each other or with other conductive materials in the wall, leading to a short circuit. A short circuit occurs when electricity flows along an unintended path, bypassing the normal circuit load. This can cause a surge of current that can overheat the wires, damage electrical devices, and potentially start a fire. 2. The lack of insulation on the splice increased the risk of electrical shock. If someone were to come into contact with the exposed wires, they could receive a potentially lethal electrical shock. 3. The improperly spliced wire was a fire hazard. The loose connection and inadequate insulation could cause the wires to overheat, potentially igniting nearby flammable materials such as wood framing or insulation. The discovery of this electrical hazard required the homeowner to immediately engage a qualified electrician. The electrician's task involved firstly inspecting the wiring to assess the extent of the damage and identify any other potential hazards. Secondly, disconnecting the improperly spliced wire and replacing it with a properly installed junction box and wire connectors. Thirdly, ensuring that all electrical connections were made in accordance with the National Electrical Code, NEC, and local electrical codes. The electrician may have also needed to trace the wiring back to its source to ensure that the circuit was properly protected by a circuit breaker or fuse of the correct amperage. The cost of hiring both the plumber and the electrician significantly increased the homeowner's overall expenses. In addition to the cost of the initial window installation, the homeowner had to pay for the plumber's time and materials to repair the leaking pipe, as well as the electrician's time and materials to correct the dangerous electrical wiring. These additional costs likely exceeded the amount that the homeowner had initially saved by hiring a non-professional friend for the window installation and other repairs. This situation illustrates the importance of hiring qualified and licensed contractors for home repairs. Qualified contractors have the necessary training, experience, and insurance to perform work safely and correctly. They are also familiar with building codes and regulations, ensuring that the work is done in compliance with all applicable standards. While it may seem tempting to save money by hiring a friend or attempting to do the work oneself, the potential risks and costs associated with improper repairs can far outweigh the initial savings. In this case, the homeowner's attempt to save money resulted in a series of problems that ultimately cost more than hiring professionals from the outset. Moreover, the homeowner's actions put his family and property at risk. The improperly spliced electrical wire posed a significant safety hazard that could have resulted in serious injury or even death. The homeowner could have avoided these problems by simply hiring qualified contractors to perform the window installation and any necessary electrical or plumbing work. When hiring a contractor, it is important to firstly check their credentials. Ensure that the contractor is licensed and insured in the jurisdiction where the work is being performed. Secondly, ask for references. Contact previous clients to inquire about their experience with the contractor. Thirdly, obtain multiple bids. Get quotes from several different contractors to compare prices and services. Fourthly, review the contract carefully. Make sure that the contract clearly outlines the scope of work, payment terms, and warranty information. By taking these precautions, homeowners can protect themselves from unqualified contractors and ensure that their home repairs are done safely and correctly. In addition to the specific issues encountered by the homeowner, there are other potential problems that can arise from DIY electrical work. These include, firstly, improper wiring of outlets and switches. Outlets and switches must be wired correctly to ensure that they function properly and do not pose a safety hazard. Secondly, overloading circuits. Overloading a circuit can cause the circuit breaker to trip or the fuse to blow. It can also overheat the wires and potentially start a fire. Thirdly, improper grounding. Grounding provides a path for electricity to flow safely back to the electrical panel in the event of a fault. Improper grounding can increase the risk of electrical shock. Fourthly, using the wrong type of wire. Different types of wire are designed for different applications. Using the wrong type of wire can be dangerous and can violate electrical codes. Electrical work should always be performed by a qualified electrician. Electricians have the training and experience to perform electrical work safely and correctly. They are also familiar with building codes and regulations. Attempting to do electrical work yourself can be dangerous and can potentially void your homeowner's insurance policy. Furthermore, concerning the NEC, it provides comprehensive guidelines for safe electrical installations. Several articles within the NEC address specific requirements relevant to the situation described. NEC Article 110.3 B, for example, covers the installation and use of equipment, mandating that all equipment be installed and used in accordance with the instructions included in the listing or labeling. This means that any electrical components used in a home repair, such as wire connectors or junction boxes, must be installed according to the manufacturer's specifications to ensure safety and proper function. NEC Article 300.11 addresses securing and supporting wiring. It requires that wiring be securely fastened to the building structure to prevent strain on connections and protect against physical damage. Improperly secured wiring can lead to loose connections, which can cause arcing, overheating, and potentially fires. NEC Article 314 pertains to junction boxes, outlet boxes, and conduit bodies. It specifies the requirements for the installation and use of these enclosures, including their size, construction, and accessibility. Junction boxes are essential for protecting electrical connections from physical damage and preventing the spread of fire. They must be properly sized to accommodate the number and size of conductors within them and must be readily accessible for inspection and maintenance. NEC Article 334 covers non-metallic sheath cable, commonly known as Romex. It outlines the permissible uses and installation requirements for this type of cable, including restrictions on its use in certain types of buildings and locations. It also specifies the methods for protecting the cable from physical damage and securing it to the building structure. NEC Article 406 addresses receptacles, core connectors, and attachment plugs, including their installation and grounding requirements. It mandates that all receptacles be properly grounded to protect against electrical shock. It also specifies the types of receptacles that are permitted in different locations, such as ground fault circuit interrupter (GFCI) receptacles in bathrooms and kitchens. NEC Article 408 covers switchboards, switchgear, and panel boards. It outlines the requirements for the installation and protection of these electrical distribution devices, including their location, accessibility, and overcurrent protection. Panel boards must be properly sized to accommodate the load served by the circuits they supply and must be protected by circuit breakers or fuses of the correct amperage. In addition to these specific articles, the NEC also contains general requirements for electrical safety, such as those related to working clearances around electrical equipment, protection against overcurrent, and proper grounding and bonding. Failure to comply with these requirements can result in serious electrical hazards, including shock, fire, and equipment damage. The NEC is a complex and comprehensive document, and it is essential that anyone performing electrical work be familiar with its requirements. Licensed electricians undergo extensive training and education to ensure that they are knowledgeable about the NEC and can perform electrical work safely and in compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. In summary, the homeowner's experience underscores the importance of hiring qualified professionals for home repairs and the potential consequences of attempting to save money by cutting corners. By hiring licensed and insured contractors, homeowners can ensure that the work is done safely, correctly, and in compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. This can help to prevent costly problems, protect their families and property from harm, and provide peace of mind.